Zacky Vengeance from Avenged Sevenfold is my guest today on Radio Chatter. What's going to happen with that $1 million stage they just built as they go on tour with Metallica and Volbeat? It's just going to collect dust? Well, we talk about that. Plus, their new video for Goddamn, the video they shot with their fans. We talk about their gigs right here in Southeast Michigan and, of course, touring with Metallica, a band, by the way, that put their first album out the year he was born. And, his thoughts on Zakk Wylde rejoining Ozzy.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 4, 3, 2, 1, and liftoff.
This is Radio Chatter with WRIF's own Meltdown.
Thank you guys so much for checking out Radio Chatter. As I say every single week, I do appreciate it. I don't take you guys for granted. I don't take it lightly. I try to give you guys a little backstage door into some of your favorite rockers, and hopefully I do. If you like the podcast, by all means, give us a 5-star rating, write a review, share it with your friends. If you don't, email me, meltdown@WRIF.com, or hit me up on the Twitter at meltdownwrif. And critiques, criticisms, for sure. I do appreciate it. Hey, listen, this is just one of 4 interviews I've got this week for upcoming Radio Chatter podcasts, all right? So you're going to want to check back from time to time, maybe subscribe. I'll tell you what, at the end of the interview, I'll tell you about the other 3 interviews I have coming up this week that will be airing starting at the end of the week, and then, of course, next week, and some pretty cool stuff coming up as far as the Radio Chatter interviews are concerned. In the meantime, to Zacky Vengeance, I was connected with him via this third-party line, which I told you guys before, I just can't stand. It's like, it's hard to talk to somebody when they're hearing you 2 seconds behind, but we did the best we could. And the girl on the phone originally told me I only had 7 minutes. I mean, 7 minutes, you're just practically getting warmed up. I said to Zacky at one point, I go, listen, man, my time's running out. And he says, no, man, talk as long as you want. The only problem was they'd already pushed the interview back about 10 minutes, and I was getting ready to actually go on the radio on WRIF in Detroit, so I couldn't talk that long. But Zacky was great. Like I said in the intro, we talked about this Metallica tour coming up, and I thought one of the most interesting things was he talked about his thoughts on Zakk Wylde rejoining Ozzy. Without further ado, it's Zacky Vengeance today on Radio Chatter.
Yeah, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great here in Detroit Rock City. You know, last time I talked to M Shadows, it was kind of funny because you guys hadn't really been around here that much previous when the time I talked to him. And now it looks like you guys are coming here with Metallica, but I just noticed also Mount Pleasant on June 19th with In This Moment, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, man, we're really, really excited to head back out that way.
Yeah. So, anyways, you've been doing this junket, I assume, for the last couple of hours, answering questions. What kind of questions are people asking you?
You know, just asking about the upcoming tour. With Metallica mainly, and that's been pretty much the hot question, but I'm happy to answer anything you got for me. Yeah.
I mean, obviously you guys were influenced by Metallica, growing up and stuff, and I just noticed you were actually born when Metallica's first record came out, weren't you?
Jeez, yeah. Oh, man. Wow. When you hear it like that, it's really incredible what those guys are doing and still doing. I mean, they just keep getting better, so... Yeah, that's unbelievable. I'm going to when I see them at the concerts, I'm going to bring that up to them.
Yeah, tell them you were born to kill them all. So
yeah, absolutely.
But and you guys aren't that young anymore either. I mean, in 2019, you guys going to be celebrating 20 years, huh?
Man, yeah, it's unbelievable. And hearing it feels like, it just started yesterday. That's the craziest thing. We feel like with everything that's happened, it feels like just the beginning. We got so much further, to go. It's pretty wild. It's a crazy thing. Now,
I'm sure you've been asked this before, but just indulge us here in Detroit. But you guys built this massive stage for your tour and all this other kind of stuff. So where's that stage going to go?
So what we're doing, we wanted to kind of do something a little different, a little bit more of a summertime, go out there, kick as much ass as we can, blow stuff up, just have fun. We don't want to put too much. The stage that we built, we brought over to Europe and, kind of showcases. It's a little bit more surreal and in-depth, and it makes for a great show. We play a long set with it, but I think there's a time and a place for that, and we're talking about bringing that back through the States. Later down in this upcoming year of touring. But for the summertime, it was really about, we want the fans to have fun. We want them to get back from work, go grab some beers, let us do our job, play the songs you want to hear, blow stuff up. But Metallica's going to go there and kill it every single night. It's just about having fun. I don't want to make our fans overthink. It's too hot to make them overthink about it.
Now, speaking of this Metallica tour, of course, those guys now are older. They got families, and they can pretty much write their own tour schedule as far as they're concerned. And this tour schedule doesn't seem as rigorous with some weeks off here and there and days off. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's for us, it's actually really kind of an exciting opportunity because, we always just hit it hard. We, head out in the summertime. We go to Europe. We do the festivals. We come to America. We do the festivals. We play our own shows. And we're really never home during the summertime. And, Metallica's been doing it a lot longer, and they're able to, take a little bit of time off and spend with their families, which is great because, like you said, we're getting older. We have families now and some just right down the road. I have a 2-year-old, just about 2-year-old, so he's going to appreciate me being home for a couple weeks here and there this summer, and I'm really looking forward to that. But then, it's the perfect, really the perfect mix. I get to be home and drink beer with my family and hang out with my son, and then get on the road and blow stuff up and make loud noise.
And drink beer as Metallica, or I guess the fans and stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. They didn't give us much time here. I know I got tons of stuff I wanted to talk to you about, but a couple more. Go ahead.
Take as much time as you want.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, a couple more things here real fast. Of course, the video for Goddamn is out right now. This track is really interesting. It's kind of the whole dichotomy of Avenged Sevenfold, heavy, mellow, melodic, the whole thing. And then you guys shot the video. And I guess one of the questions I have is, what are the challenges with shooting the videos with the fans like that?
Oh man, we were really excited to. This whole experiment of, putting out the stage and everything that we've done has solely been for our fans. And it's just, like I said, it's been an experiment. We just want to do right by our fans because with the, world of music, changing and, we're not trying to figure out the next trend or jump on the next bandwagon. For us, it's about hunkering down and making sure our fans are taken care of. And we wanted to give it back, bring them in the video. Obviously, we didn't know what to expect. We've never, been in a room with 200 of our fans for 8 hours. and you know what I mean? We didn't, I don't want to ever disappoint them, but it turned out to be just a great time. I think us as the band members had more fun, talking to our fans and picking their brains and seeing what they're about and what they like, what they listen to, and joking with them. At the end of the day, we have a lot in common with all of our fans. We're just a bunch of people that love music and, like having a good time.
Yeah. Did anybody walk in there with like a bright orange shirt or a pink shirt or something to put a black shirt on, or? No.
I don't think so. I think our fans are pretty much. I think they're, aside from a few people you pull out of the crowd every now and then. I think the attire was pretty straightforward.
I'm just busting your chops. So listen, you guys are coming through the Motor City, like I said, coming up on July 12th with Metallica and Volbeat. That, to me, outside of Tool, I think is going to be the big tour of the summer. This tour is going to be awesome. And are you a Tool fan?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Of course, man.
So let me ask you about this one thing to get away from Avenged Sevenfold here for a second. What do you think of Zakk Wylde rejoining Ozzy?
Oh, dude, that's so cool. I love to see all that stuff. When certain bands, you get a couple of people together and it just creates magic. And, all those guys are extremely talented on their own. But when you put them together, it's just something really, really special. We had, the privilege of doing Ozfest back in 2006. And, Zakk Wylde, he rules as a guitarist. He's just one of those magical guitar players that just can do stuff that other people can't, much like a Dimebag or, a Hendrix or, they just have something really, really spectacular. And Ozzy, I mean, he's a master. You put those two guys together, and it's just crazy. And I'm thrilled. I love seeing the original guys get back together. I love seeing the Misfits get back together, and Slash and Axl and Guns N' Roses. I mean, that's what it's all about. That's what creates the magic.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because as I was preparing to talk, I didn't know who I was talking to today, and then they told me a few minutes ago I was going to talk to you. And like I said earlier in the interview, you were born in 1981. You grew up in the hair band era, but you probably didn't discover music till the 90s. And when you discovered the music, I mean, there wasn't a lot of guitar solos and guitar heroes per se in the 90s, eh?
Yeah, so, I mean, well, I will say that I was fortunate that I got a good musical background from my parents. My dad loved Black Sabbath, and my parents, went and saw Led Zeppelin every time they came through Los Angeles. So I was always surrounded by killer rock music, which was awesome. And then, funny enough, my first concert, I went and saw Poison in 1990 and New Year's Eve. My mom took me and my family when we went and saw Poison. So I definitely was around, seeing the stage show and some theatrics and stuff from an early age. But then, throughout the 90s and stuff, there's just this drab period of kind of like weird, depressing rock stuff. And if you sift through some of it and looking back, there's something incredible. I mean, you listen to bands like Alice in Chains and Nirvana and stuff, and there's such, rad things happening. And there's always bands like Metallica carrying rock music through all the BS that was also happening when the world kind of turned on guitars and guitar solos and stuff. But now it's coming back, man. It's great to see the enthusiasm and musicianship with just tons of rock and metal bands.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, Zacky, it's going to be great to see you guys here in the Motor City once again on July 12th, and in Mount Pleasant. Got to plug this June 19th with In This Moment at a great place at a Soaring Eagle. That is awesome. That's my time, and I appreciate the time for you, and safe travels. We'll see you here in Detroit.
Absolutely, man. Can't wait to get back there.
All right, Zacky. Thanks, man.
Yep, take care, man.
I was thinking about this after I did this interview. I've never really had a bad interview with the guys from Avenged Sevenfold. I've interviewed Sinister Gates a bunch of times. I interviewed M Shadows, which I have tagged here in the bio that you can check out at WRIF.com if you want to hear the interview from last year, if you're a big Avenged Sevenfold fan. M Shadows was great, man. I've never had a chance to talk to him or meet him in person, but he was fantastic. I spent an hour or so one time at a backstage party with Sinister Gates and Chris Jericho, of all people, backstage at Rock on the Range a couple years back, and that was a lot of fun. And I got a great picture from that hangs on my wall. Anyways, that being said, Zacky Vengeance was awesome. I think it's the first time I've talked to him. Could be the second. I'm not exactly sure, but I really like Avenged Sevenfold. Some good stuff right there. Some great guitar players. Speaking of guitar players, I've got some awesome ones coming up here on Radio Chatter. Near the end of the week here, I'm going to post my conversation, my interview with Bill Leverty. He's from the band Firehouse. Remember those guys? I connected with him over Twitter. They still tour, play all sorts of festivals every summer, and it's a great interview, a great insight into a band that really broke at the wrong time. They broke in the early 90s, and of course, we all know what happened when grunge took over. So we'll talk with Bill about that and just a ton more, as well as Richie Kotzen. I don't know if you remember, Richie was in Poison back in the early 1990s. He replaced CeCe DeVille at one point, and I think, if memory serves me correctly, they put out a record called Native Tongue, which didn't do very well because, like I just mentioned, grunge kind of took over, so maybe we'll talk to Richie about that coming up. And then next week also, I've got Steven Richards. He's the front man for the band Taproot. Those guys have a couple shows coming up here in mid-May at the Machine Shop up in Flint, and they're going to play one of their best records in its entirety. And I'm not exactly sure what's going on with the guys from Taproot, so I'm really looking forward to talking to Steven Richards. So those are just some of the guests I've got coming up here for Radio Chatter. Please, by all means, subscribe. Share it with your friends. 5-star ratings, reviews, the whole thing. We do appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for listening to Radio Chatter.